You say what? Let's get into that.
Mhm.
I think that is something. I had a text full of conversations this morning about who the MVP should be and how it's skewed one way or another. Um, so yeah, let's get into this. What are your takeaways? What should we be expecting? What should happen? I'm curious to know what we're going to hear when is it usually the conference finals when that award is announced. Um, so yeah, I'm just curious to hear what your take is on who should win this MVP.
Well, one thing that's added some clarity anyway is that it's a two-man award, or it's a two-man race to the award anyway this year. And if I've said this before, but if you were to take either of these guys' individual performance and plot them on a different NBA season, I think you know at least for Shea, like 9 times out of 10, it would seem he would be the winner, and then for Jokic, like 10 times out of 10, he would be the winner. And but it just makes it so much more complicated with how exceptionally well the Thunder have been playing this year, while Shea is having a peak season for him thus far at this point in his career. So, I mean, I ultimately think it's going to be Shea who wins it. I think if I had a vote, that would be it comes down to the wire. Um,
Really?
how about this? If OKC wins 70 games, which they still have the opportunity to do, they'd have to win out their season.
Yeah.
But I think pretend my hypothetical vote would go to Shea, but it's
If
so
they
tough
got
because
70,
yeah.
if they got 69, what is your
No,
vote?
still not gonna cut it. Not gonna cut it.
Gotta be 70 wins.
Nah, no, even then. I mean, at this point, I feel like if zero other games were played, your mind should be pretty much made up at this point. But it is still. I mean, it is kind of like a coin flip for me. It really is. It's because Jokic averaging a triple double this year. He'll be the third player, assuming that he continues on this trend. He'll be the third player to have ever done that. But he's doing it incredibly efficiently. His on-offs obviously are ridiculous. So are Shea's, by the way. Shea's on-off stats, on-off advanced stats are absolutely ridiculous as well. So, but even still, I mean, give the edge to
Currently
Jokic
leading.
there. Which
I think it's
you
as of a
saying,
couple hours.
Jokic or Shea is?
Oops. Sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to look at too many different things at once. But no, what it's listed here, and I can't tell. Let's see. That's a few days behind. I apologize to interrupt.
No. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I think what you're looking at there is probably going to carry out the season close, or at least be very, very close. But at any rate, so yeah, I mean, it's tough because you ask yourself, like, what do you consider the most valuable player? How do you really truly gauge
Yeah,
that?
that
It's not just like who's the best player. It's definitely not that. But you have to say, like, and well, how does this player's performance contribute to winning? And I mean, at the end of the day, I really genuinely believe that especially this year would be a stellar example of just like how Jokic's, I don't know, perplexing performances just really raise the floor, ceiling, whatever you want to call it, just raise the bar for his team exponentially. And I don't think there's any other player in the NBA who does it quite like that this season. This season included. And um, like I said, we got the triple double. I mean, he's going to break the record for single season BPM this year. Come season close, he's on pace to do it currently. And but that said, when you get a guy who's on a team that could potentially win 70 games this year, who is the best defensive team perhaps ever, who has historic a team who has a historic net rating, a guy who's leading the league in scoring, who, if you look at his stat line, you can say nobody's done that since Jordan. I mean, I really think Shai's going to get it, and I think he deserves it. That's one of the points I forgot to make. So, yes. So, again, the reason I say 10 out of 10 for Jokic versus 9 out of 10 for Shai, if you were to take their season and extrapolate it on any other season in comparison, like why Jokic could/should win is just because nobody has ever done what you have displayed for us here. I mean, the three major stat categories, points, rebounds, assists, he's top 3 in all of them. That alone is absurd. And then you throw steals in the mix. He's second in the league in steals. Is it, at least when this graphic was created? I don't know if that's current as of this moment, but yeah, nobody.
He's second in the. I checked it this morning. He has 1.8 steals per game behind Dyson Daniels. But he is, and this is the biggest knock on Jokic, he is 60th in the league in blocks as a center. So that he should be ashamed of himself. He needs to get in the gym and work on that vertical and get in there at 0.7 blocks per game. So he's got a game, part of his game he needs to improve on for next season.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of rim protecting moments from Jokic moving forward. Sure to come. No, but it's it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's historic. I don't know that this will ever be done again. So it's a shame that this was just not quite enough, and probably will not be quite enough to win an MVP. So hold on, take a moment while I'm reading this graphic.
Yeah, so it's just he's a generational. I feel like I mentioned to my friends, he's approaching. He's not in, but I feel like he's approaching the GOAT conversation. Like if he manages to maybe get 2 more championships, and I obviously I could do the Max Verstappen if whatever. But he's sniffing. He's approaching the GOAT conversation. He should be in the conversations with Kobe, LeBron, just because of the fact that he's putting these performances for seasons together, and he's won championships. So the fact that he's able to do all these things, and we look at other big men, and it's funny, Shaq the other night was talking about how he would destroy him and he'd be fighting his brothers. And so it's like if they were to play together in the same time frame, it's like, sure, but there's so many different things. Just because he's playing in this version, hitting threes, like Shaq, you weren't doing that. Like he would just stayed out there and I think one of the stats I sent you, like the range of his deep threes, like he's one of the deepest. He shoots from the farthest away and is still managing to shoot 40%. So just what he's doing is just remarkable, and it's hard. And yes, I love SGA and I love what he's doing. He's one of those guys that in my head, I wish I would have had that talent at being a smaller guard to do all the stuff that he's able to do. That I would have wanted to emulate and do everything that SGA does. But like this season, watching Jokic, realizing like what the catalog of seasons that he's putting together is just remarkable. And he deserves his flowers as much as he doesn't want them and just wants to go watch his horses. So it's nuts that this isn't. You can tell it is a passion, but it's really not. And it's like, man, if he had like a Jordan level of like craziness or Kobe's, it's like, man, he would just tear everybody up. It'd be like 60 every game.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention the 30-20-20 triple-double. That's also never been done before. So, yeah, you put all that together.
I can bring the graphic back up if you need it.
Yeah, you put all that together, and you I mean, the guy's got a case for MVP. If you vote for him, you're not voting incorrectly. Whoever wins is certainly going to be deserving of it. I still think it's going to go to Shai. Whether or not I really think that he was like truly an MVP this year, but how do you split those hairs? That's really, really tough. I mean, just look at, at the end of the day, just look at the standings and look at what this Oklahoma City Thunder has been able to accomplish behind Shai. So I don't, the Thunder would be good without Shai, but not this good. And so, yeah. I mean, he's sort of
But
the.
how good would the Nuggets be?
Yeah. I mean, they would be like
That's the
relegation
thing.
status.
And I had this up here before. How do you define the MVP? Because is it the most valuable player? Like, I guess that's the ongoing question and quest that we're all trying to figure out. But is it, let's take Shai, and again, I know that's the on-offs that you're talking about. If we take one of the players off of the team, like how much better are they going to be? But
Wait, show that
legitimately,
again. Show that again, real quick. It's what's important is just how deep in the red the Nuggets are when Jokic is not on. That's the craziest thing is you're looking at Shai's team and they're still very much in the positive when he's
but
off
I
the
feel like
floor.
that difference is almost the same. The net positive of those, of him being like the plus 16 versus the 9. Like, so offensively, they're that much better. Yes, when Jokic is off. So it almost evens out. So, yes, I get what you're saying by defensively, they're that much worse, but offensively, and granted, like you said, the Thunder are a great team. Like, that's part of it too. And the Nuggets are also a very good team. And yeah, they're not elite the way that the Thunder are looking right now. So, yeah, to me, it's a great conversation. It's getting a lot of people talking about it, and they all have kind of their own opinions. So it's definitely been fun to hear.
Not super viciously anyway. If in case I heard you, or in case I didn't hear you correctly, rather, if you're telling me that Jokic is that the defensive numbers for like on off for the Nuggets are worse when he's on, I mean, I don't think it really shows it in that stat because it's just kind of overall, but the advanced numbers for defense actually work very, very well for Jokic. That's another ongoing debate. I mean, the eye test doesn't show it for the way he
Yeah, but
protects the rim, but defensively he is a smart player. I mean, there's a reason he's number 2 in the league in steals, is because he kind of knows how to like fit his strengths to maximize what he can do on the defensive floor for a team, especially in like a team defense type setting. Because he's never gonna try to catch up to a guy who feels like has already beaten him, because he knows like I'm gonna be beat, and he's never gonna do any sort of I don't know, acrobatic measure to defend the rim, because he knows that it's just going to lead to him fouling the guy. So, that's part of his IQ. And I mean, it's like those little things. It's like, well, you're not making a defensive move, but that can actually increase your defensive numbers, is because you're at the end of the day, you're making the smarter move. So he does that enough that the cumulative effect is that actually Jokic, while one-on-one doesn't always look like the best defender, he holds the line super, super well. I will say that. But I mean, it still works, and he's still a positive on both ends of the
yeah,
floor.
no, and
So.
I guess that's more of the when he's on or off. I think people kind of mix up that discussion. I more or less, if we're defining the MVP, if you pull, like, you void SGA off of the Thunder and you void Jokic off, like, how big of a difference of them just not being on that team? That's where it's like, is their importance ranked on that, or is it the fact that the Thunder are having this crazy season that team needs to be rewarded by that best player getting the MVP? I feel like, is
I
that
think
the
so.
narrative that kind of has to be played out? Like, this team
Yeah.
did so well, we need to reward it by placing this player here as the MVP. And so
I think,
I guess it's,
yeah.
and my other thought, the only other reason that people kind of have had this discussion is the D Rose LeBron year, where Rose got it and everybody kind of now is coming back like, oh, LeBron should have gotten that. He had the best stats. So is LeBron in kind of the Jokic role here. And then because the Bulls had such a great season and D Rose was such an impact, like, that's why he was given the MVP.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't have been a 62 win team without D Rose. I mean, they could have been a good team, just scraping by, winning games defensively. But yeah, no, it's tough, man. It's always going to be.
It's
I
great
mean, we hope
sports
so
radio
anyway.
banter. Yeah.
we hope so. Yeah, we hope it's always going to be this way. I mean, just the fact that you can say like, there's a guy who's amongst the top three in almost every stat category. The three major stat categories, he's top three, and then he's top three in steals as well. He's averaging a near 30-point triple double, and his on-offs are absolutely ridiculous. But there's a good chance he's not going to win the MVP. The fact that we can even say that is absolutely absurd, and it underlies just kind of how incredible this. I mean, this has been a good year for the NBA. I really do. There's going to be a lot of haters out there who talk about ratings, or people who don't watch enough games who talk about stylistically how the game looks with 3-pointers and foul calls and such like that. And
I think the ratings for the season aren't going to matter. I feel like people are aware kind of what's happening. I think let's look at the conference final and finals numbers and compare them to previous years, because I feel like people will be coming in to see what's happening for these, and probably throughout the playoffs we'll see some spikes in some games, because there's going to be some high quality matchups that are coming, and I think that's what gets people excited and will kind of bring them out. The birds agree with me.
They're tripping. They're tripping for Ronnie. All right. Well, yeah. I don't need to
digress.
I feel like I digress. I know it sounds like I'm saying Jokic should win the MVP, but I do feel like Shai is going to fairly win it. That's about all I can say about that.
No, at least I've wrapped my head around it just by babbling on, so at least I
it's important.
It.
We need this.
Yeah.
We need this.